What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Treehouse 5 podcast. And we're your hosts, Maurisa, Monica, and Luciano. I'll just say everyone's names today. So today we're going to be talking about a couple different topics. The first one I think we're going to start with is teachers that impacted our lives. Monica?
So I remember my fifth grade teacher. Yeah, but this was in Uruguay. Like, I was in fifth grade in Uruguay and here because I was left back because I didn't speak English. So my fifth grade teacher in Uruguay, she was very special to me because my last day in class, she wrote for me like a letter, a nice letter. She made it very special. Like, this might sound stupid, but like every once in a while, every day you had to go to each class, like each grade's class, and pick up the attendance from the teacher. So every day she would pick, a different student. And it was usually like a student that was doing, well in the class so that they could miss like a few minutes of the class's lesson. So that day she picked me, but she also let me pick my best friend. So we went together, and I thought that was very cool. Like, I was only 11, but I know it's stupid, but
things like that make you feel special.
Yeah, it made me feel special. And basically we just hung out all day, and like we were just talking about how, even though you're like leaving your country, like your country is always you should always have your country in your heart, and your country's gonna always have you in the heart of the country. And yeah.
The teacher that impacted me the most was a little later. It was my 10th grade English teacher. And the reason why I think she was so impactful is that she was like super open. And even though it was an English class, it wasn't like all we were talking about was just the literature. We would talk about current events and different things going on in the world. And she made everybody feel comfortable. Like, even if people had opposing views, she was more liberal, but if people had more conservative views, she would hear them out, and we would all talk about it. And she didn't let anybody get like mean with each other about it or offensive, nothing rude. Like, just like a good conversation. Everybody got to say what they wanted to. Sometimes she would let us do debates if there was like a really big topic going on in politics. Another thing that was cool about her is that I used to be really bad at public speaking. Like, I hated it, and I would get really anxious if I had to do it. I would get like, and it would ruin it because I would get shaky and I couldn't talk. So she kind of helped me. I would go after school with her, and she would help me do different techniques to feel more comfortable. Yeah. And I would practice, and then eventually I got, not great at it, but a lot better than what I was before. And I wouldn't feel so scared when I was going into that situation. So she was just one of my favorite teachers, and she was super nice. She was just like one of the nicest teachers, and she made everybody in the class like feel like you were important. It was English. So it was like, I don't know, it was weird because it was an English class, and we did discuss a lot of literature, and like we did read. She didn't force us to read out loud. How like teachers will go around the room and make everybody take a turn, and some people don't like that. Some people hate reading out loud, not because they're bad readers, but they get nervous. She never did that. She only made the people who volunteered to read out loud read, which was cool because she didn't like degrade us. And I don't know, she was just always like a special teacher to me. She was my favorite teacher. She ended up being my English teacher in 11th grade too, and she was really cool.
For me, one of my favorite teachers was a Spanish teacher. He was pretty cool. To me, it just seemed like he was one of the guys. He wasn't like hardcore, like, I'm a teacher, you're a student. It was more, and just like friendly. Yeah, it was friendly. So that was a good teacher. Another one was, when we first came here, we had to go through ESL classes. And this teacher, she was pretty cool. She was also very friendly. You can tell when a teacher cares or when a teacher's like, all right, I'm just here for my paycheck.
Yeah.
And actually, a good next topic would be a teacher that impacted you in a negative way.
Oh, we could talk about that.
Yeah. So for me, it was the Spanish teacher in eighth grade, and then through West Orange for like 3 4 years, you're supposed to take ESL. I had this ESL teacher, and both of them, what they had in common was they were very friendly. And
Monica, what about you?
any teachers that impacted you negatively?
Yeah, so in college,
Oh,
was it psychology or sociology?
Psychology.
Yeah, psychology teacher. So it was either a midterm or a final we were taking.
Midterm.
A midterm. We were taking a midterm, and me and Marissa, we were in the same class. So before he handed out the test, he said, everybody make sure you put all your stuff in the front of the class. Your books, your book bags,
Like anything.
your
anything
cell
we had
phone,
with us.
everything you have with you, bring it to the front of the class. So I didn't hear that part, right? So while people were bringing up their books to the front, I was still looking at my book. Meanwhile, he didn't hand out the test yet. So I was looking at the book just to review, because, before you take a test, you always review. So I was looking at it, and so then, once he started handing out the test, I put my book on an empty table next to me.
I don't think it was next to you. It was behind you.
Yeah, it was
It
actually
was like behind her. It was on the desk behind her.
Yeah, it was actually behind me. So I put my book behind me, right? So whatever, we're all taking our tests. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there was another girl that she did this basically the same thing as me. She had her book next.
She had her book, I think, her book was like under the chair. You know how there's like that little basket? She put it in there.
Yeah, so we were all taking the midterm test. And all of a sudden, and he was always like looking down while we were taking our test, so he was on his phone or whatever. All of a sudden, he just like looks up and he sees my book behind me. But I'm taking my test. I'm obviously not cheating. The book is closed, and it's actually like upside down, so you can't see anything from the book,
Close.
So he starts yelling. He's like, whose book is that? Didn't I tell everybody to put their belongings in the front of the class? So I had to say, oh, that's my book, but it's closed and it's behind me. I didn't hear you originally when you said that. So, when you started handing out the test, I figured I'll just leave it behind me. So he's like, give me your test. You're not going to take the midterm.
He was going to fail. He was going to fail her.
Yeah, he was going to give me an F for the test. Yeah. So then I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I really didn't hear you. Plus, I'm not the only one that did this. There's other people that, they left their belongings.
Wait. The funny thing about this is Monica narks on the girl that's got the book under. She's like, I'm not the only one. She's got her book too. So he takes the test from that girl too.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to screw her over. I was trying to prove a point that we're not cheating. We just we have our books underneath us and behind us. So what the hell? So he takes her test too, and I felt so bad.
The girl wasn't even mad at you because I waited outside afterwards, and they were mad at him because she was like, I don't understand why he failed us. Why he's trying to give us an F. The book is closed. You can see the book is closed. It's in a place where they can't open it. It's not like it was on their desk or open. It was closed. It was behind Monica. He would see her if she went into that book.
It's just a rational reaction.
Yeah. So he took our test and he kicked us out of the class. So we both waited outside of the class until everybody finished their test. So once everybody left, I went in there and I was like, I wasn't cheating. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. But the way I said it, he felt like I was being aggressive towards him. He felt, actually, I think he said that he was scared.
No. What happened was Monica came back in and she asked him she's telling him I really didn't cheat. And it's not fair that you're failing me because I didn't cheat. You just saw my book there. Other than that, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't think I should get an F. So he's like, well, I told everybody to put it up there beforehand and you didn't listen, so you get an F. So she was like, Monica got mad, and as Monica was talking, she was like, but that's not fair, and went like that. She slapped at her hand, But like she wasn't. I was standing right there. She was being aggressive. She was not being aggressive. He tried to say she was being aggressive. Then he yelled at me because I was standing like outside the classroom. He's like, "And what are you here for, her lawyer?" And I'm like, "I'm just standing out here waiting for her because she's my ride." Like I don't know why you're getting so upset at me.
Yeah. So then I had a meeting with the dean.
Yeah, because then he brought it. He brought it to the dean.
Yeah, he like kind of like told on me and told the dean like that I cheated.
Disclaimer, you can be thrown out of college for cheating.
Yeah.
So he brought that to the dean with the intention of getting them in a lot of trouble.
So I had to be on a meeting with the dean and I'm like, listen, I never cheated on that test. Like, I don't know if you have cameras or what, but I never cheated. You could see my records. Like, I'm not an I don't fail in school. Like, you know? So I was like literally crying to the dean. I was like, please don't kick me out of school. Like, you know, I'm spending a lot of money in school. So then
the dean ruled in your favor.
Yeah. So then the dean like said, okay, I'm going to talk to the teacher because actually this is not the first time that I have an issue with this professor. So I was like, okay, so I left. And then the next time I had the class with him, he said, Monica and the girl's name, I forgot her name. But he was like, I'm going to give you guys another chance and you're going to take the midterm. But this time, we're not going to do it in class. We're going to do it in a, like, you know, those study rooms where like the teacher is there and they can watch you and it's timed or whatever. So the next day or whatever, I took the test and I actually did a lot better the second time. So I it screwed him. So when he handed me my midterm, it was an A minus.
I think it was like a 98. It was something crazy. Like,
I don't remember. Really, yeah, it was an A. So from that point on, I didn't participate in that class. I didn't even look at his eyes. I felt disgusted by him. And I wrote a horrible review on him. I don't care.
Everybody did. I saw, because what happened was he passed out, like, the teachers have to give out these, the reviews, and he passed them out, and I heard they were like, because the teacher has to leave the room and then a student collects them and brings them down to the department. And I heard them talking and they were all giving him bad reviews because nobody liked him. This guy was just a jerk. Like he was just nasty, and he was young. He wasn't old. He was maybe in his 30s, like late 30s. He wasn't that old. So you would think like, oh, he was cool. He didn't look like a jerk. Like if you were to see him, like you wouldn't think he'd look like a jerk. He looked like every other person. Like he was just like, he was real tall and he had like red hair.
Reddish blonde.
He had brown hair and a red beard. Yeah. And he was just like, he looked like a normal guy. I wouldn't have thought, if by looking at him, he was going to be a jerk. But when he did that day, I was like,
what? I actually liked him before that incident. He wasn't like a bad teacher. He was decent. And I like psychology classes in college. So I don't know what happened.
That was your minor.
That was my minor, psychology in college, yeah. So I don't know what happened, but ever since then, I didn't participate in class. I didn't even look at him. And I made it a point to him that I didn't like him, to show him.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's a psychology teacher too, because you would think he gets it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I thought maybe she was cheating. She told me no. Let me not act out of place. Like, how are you a psychology teacher?
He purposely tried to kick me out of the school for something that I didn't even do.
Her and the other girl, they both had meetings with the dean. Like, and I've seen students get caught cheating and that not happen to them. Like in the middle of, oh, this is funny. In the middle of, what was that class that I took? Managerial decision modeling. It's basically math. That's what it was. And this kid in the middle of the midterm, like, was on his phone and Siri went off and gave the answer. And the professor, she caught him. All she did was she took his phone away for like the time being, but she didn't she could have got him kicked out of school too, but she didn't do that. A lot of, they don't do that usually.
Sounds like that teacher needs a psychology check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know what his problem was.
He is a psychologist. He's a psychologist, so he works with people.
Yeah. Actually, that being a psychology teacher, I think, was his part-time job. Full-time, he was a
He
psychologist.
was a psychologist. That was his regular job.
And these people are supposed to be helping other people and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
A teacher that impacted me negatively was actually my 10th grade Spanish teacher, which is funny because my favorite teachers usually were the Spanish teachers because they were always pretty cool. But this one was old and she was not cool. She was mean.
Why?
Like she hated me. And I wasn't back then, like in school, when I was in high school, I was quiet. I was not like a crazy student. I was like an introvert. I was shy in class. Rarely would raise my hand, even if I knew the answer, because I was just shy. And I don't know what it was about her, but she didn't like me. And she actually threw me out of her class one time because I don't even know why. To be honest with you, I don't know why she threw us out. We had a test that day, and the test was over. She collected the test, and the kid that sat in front of me, I was friends with, he turned around to say something to me, and like we laughed, but like quietly, you know. She turned around and she was like, "The two of you to the office, get out." We're in the middle of a test, but she had literally just collected the papers. She was back at her desk when this happened. So he was like, he got scared. I was just so tired of her. She would pick on us all the time. She picked on everybody. Like she was nasty to everybody, but she hated me. And she hated him because he talked to me. So she kicked us out of the class. And then I went down to the office. And then it was funny because as I was in the office waiting, my best friend walked in because she got thrown out of class that day. So it ended up being funny. And then when I went to the principal, like, because I never really got in trouble. Like I would get in trouble for stupid. I got in trouble probably after that point, but not in 10th grade. And the vice principal was like, "I never see you in here. I'm just going to give you a warning." And like, he let me go. The kid that sat in front of me, my friend, he got 2 morning detentions for it. So he got the short end of it. But I remember going back to class and being like, well, I didn't even get in trouble, because I was just like, I was tired of her. Everybody hated her. She had an attitude about everything. And she was like American that learned Spanish. She wasn't like, she had no Spanish origins. And she spoke Spanish good, but she was just miserable. She retired because she was old. She was actually my mom's Spanish teacher too. Oh, yeah. Like that's how old this lady was. So that was the worst teacher I ever had.
Did your mom have good things to say about her?
No, my mom said she was nasty back then.
Wow.
So she was just cranky. Like I don't know. She was just miserable. And then after that, I was like, I don't know. She just complained even if you had gum in your mouth. I always chewed gum. And she would come around and be like, "Are you chewing gum?" And I'd be like, "No." And then I would like hide it, like, up in my mouth. But she was annoying. I couldn't stand her. This girl used to make fun of her, though. It was so funny. She used to make fun of the way she pronounced her name. I can't say it on here because I don't want to say her name, but it was funny as hell.
I can't think of a teacher that disrespected me that much, like ever. I just sat in the back. I stayed quiet. I was like, I was just minding my own business, just trying to get through school. But one time I did join a class that I thought I was going to like film studies, but the teacher was just out of it. I think he was waiting for retirement, and he was like, I thought it was going to be a class that I was going to enjoy. And, you make films. So he's like, okay, this time we're going to do a horror film. This time we're going to do a comedy and stuff like that. But nobody cared, nothing. And it kind of ruined it because I really thought I was going to like it. He just didn't, he was just like, A. I think he was just waiting for retirement but I don't think I ever had a teacher like full out disrespect me like that. I don't think so at all. I had a teacher that her speaking voice was yelling. And somehow I landed in the front of the class. It was like assigned seating. Every day, no joke, I would walk out with a headache. This was crazy. This was this was elementary school, I think. Oh, wow. Or middle school. Oh, it was middle school. And somehow I landed in the front, and her speaking voice was yelling, and it was crazy. Some people speaking voices like low. Some people are like yell.
Yeah, some of them are really low where you can't hear anything.
Yeah, it's like, what are you saying? What like? I'm not trying to be rude, but what are you actually saying? It's like blah, 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 blah. What was that? I'm sorry. It's like you guys speak up, grab a megaphone or something.
Okay, then I think we're going to talk a little bit about also to stay with the same kind of theme, advice that we've gotten in our life that made like an impact or that was significant to us.
Yeah, from a friend, family member, movie.
I would say let's go with people like that are in our life because from a movie is not really advice.
I think with advice goes compliment a little bit because sometimes you get a compliment and it's almost like an advice too. I had a boss. She kind of saw me down one day, and she was like, "You should smile more, or smile more. You have a beautiful smile." And it was a compliment, and it was like a bit of advice.
Yeah.
And I carried that with me. I don't know, like it was nice because the boss, she wasn't mean, but she wasn't super like present with the employees. It was like straight to the office, straight to business. But that time that she gave that compliment advice, it was like, oh, it was nice.
I actually just thought of one. In my previous job, my boss, like, she told me to always celebrate even like a small like accomplishment. Always like, because I always like, bring myself down. So I guess she saw me kind of having a hard day that day, and she told me like, you know, just celebrate each small accomplishment that you make, even at work, even at your personal life, anything like that.
I don't know who gave me this advice, but a good advice is like take pictures. That's pretty good advice.
Yeah, that's actually a good one, and we need to take a lot more pictures.
Yeah, we need to like that's important, because one day you want to look back,
Because I was like actually like thinking about it, and we don't have any pictures like me, like our family. We don't have any pictures or videos. Like videos would be nice to have because like I'm always thinking like what would my voice sound like when I was a kid? How was I like? Because I don't know what I was like when I was a kid. I don't remember. So that's a good advice actually.
I think now it's so much easier because you have the phone. But back then you had like the big ass camera.
And you had to develop them.
Like I have some cameras. I still have old those disposable cameras that I never got developed. I wonder if you could still take it to CVS or wherever, to get them developed. I think a good advice that I got, I don't even know if I got it, if it was advice said to me. It might have been advice said to a friend that I overheard, but I think a good advice that I heard was enjoy what you have. Don't always go looking for something better. Yes, you wanna go about your life and always try to do better, but like enjoy what you have because the next thing might not be better. It might look better, but it might not be better. And I think I've seen that in a lot of instances in life, like how people will have a job and it's a good job, but then they want something better because that job looks great until they get it, and then it ends up being miserable, or you don't move up in that job. It just looked better because maybe the pay was a little bit higher, but there was no like actual potential. Or you had a relationship and you're with a person and they're great and you really like them, but you're looking for something better, like someone more attractive or someone with more money, and it doesn't work out that way. It's like appreciate what you have and don't always go searching for the next best thing because the next best thing is probably the next worst thing. So that's my advice.
That's like the grass is not always greener on the other side.
That's what it was. That's what it is. The grass isn't always greener. But in more like layman's terms.
I heard that from sometimes like you watch celebrity interviews and they're like, I kind of wish I was back to being undiscovered, with my privacy. I could walk down the street, and I'm like, it makes you think like, damn, they have it all, and they don't want it. They wish they were in our place, and sometimes we wish we were in their place. So that kind of goes with what you were saying. The grass is not always greener.
Yeah, I see a lot of celebrities say that. I used to be like, when I was a kid, I wanted to be like rich and famous. And I don't think in a million years I want to be famous, because I just like, it's not natural to us. We forget, like, we are literally animals. Like, look at the dogs. Like, we're sitting in the presence of a dog right now. We'll use him as an example. Fame is not natural. There's nothing natural about it. It's like, it's just not normal. We're not supposed to live through that. I think that's why so many celebrities have mental illness, or they're not happy, or they have addiction, because they can't live their life without people, being in their business and talking about them, and it's not cool.
It's like an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
And then there's people out there that like will do anything to get famous.
And sometimes I see a celebrity taking pictures with people, and they look dead inside, because they're like, smile, smile, but you don't care about me. You just want that validation. You want that. Hey guys, look on Facebook. It's like, hey guys, look who I just took a picture with. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But if you see the celebrities taking pictures, it's like, smile, smile, and then it's barely they're alive. It's crazy seeing that.
It's also got to be like weird for them to make friends, because it's like, do you like me for me, or do you like me for what I have and what I can do for you, And that's got to be a pain too, because it's like, maybe you meet someone out and you like them, and maybe they're not famous, but in the back of your mind, there's always got to be that thought of like, oh, can I trust this person? Do they like me? Or are they in love with the characters that I play, or, the money that I have, the fame, like what I can offer to them?
Bringing that our world is like, when I'm like dating a girl, I know that she likes me for me, because I'm nobody to the world,
Yeah.
But and then go into their world, you're dating a new girl, and the world does know you. It's like, okay, do you like me for me, or because...
That's gotta suck, because it's like everyone you meet, you gotta kind of feel like, do they really like me? Like, if they're not famous. I mean, obviously with other famous people.
But even with other famous.
Oh, that's true too, because some of them want to get more famous, or they want to make, more money.
That's why you see some celebrities like LeBron, they have the childhood friends that they bring with them. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, you were with me when I was nobody, so I know I can trust you now that I'm somebody.
Like, look at Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's going on with that? It's like, we don't know who's saying the truth, because one blames the other, and it's like.
Well, Johnny Depp recorded.
Yeah. So I mean, my personal opinion, I believe Johnny Depp. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not, we weren't in that relationship, so we don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the advice that I got. What about you? Anybody else has any other?
Well, going back to the taking pictures, 2 days ago, we had a birthday party, and we
didn't take any pictures.
We didn't take pictures.
Yeah, we totally forgot.
Imagine that.
Yeah, we didn't take any pictures. And normally people take pictures, but we didn't take any pictures.
That's why it's so important, It's like...
Even on Halloween, we didn't take any pictures.
That's crazy.
Because, like, the kids, they asked for pictures of us. And we had a picture of me and Monica, but you weren't in it. Yeah. Like, we didn't have a picture of anybody else. And then we had, like, another picture with, like, Stephanie. But that was literally it. It was, like, a picture of me and you when it first started. And then a picture of Stephanie, like, posing because she was dressed up, too. And that was it. There was no other pictures to show anybody. Because even your mom did. Everybody wanted to see what you looked like. Yeah. Too. They were like, what was Luciano wearing? And we were like, we told them, but they were like, do you have pictures? And we were like, no. And we were like, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't take any picture.
And I took an individual picture. That's what I sent. But we never did a group. Yeah. Yeah. That's why pictures are so important.
It sucks because it's like, in one hand, it's like you're enjoying the moment. Yeah. And then on the other hand, it's like, do I really want to, not ruin the moment, but like be conscious of like grabbing my cell phone to take a picture, you know? So
I think
it's
it
like,
depends on like what's going on. I think a good time to take a picture is at the beginning.
yeah.
Like at the beginning of a holiday, my mom always like before like anything happens, she'll be like, okay, let's take pictures. So there's always a bunch of pictures, or like when we're gonna open gifts on Christmas, she'll take pictures then. So you know, like when you're conscious of it, because I feel like once the fun starts to happen, you just kind of forget. You're just kind of like living through it. 100% you forget. Except for at childhood birthdays. When you're a little kid, there's always like the dad or the mom with the little camcorder. Back in the day, I think my aunt and uncle have a bunch of them. We have some. People always were taking videos of birthday parties back then. But I don't feel like they do that anymore.
No, now they do that because it's easy with the cell phone. Yeah. Now they do that.
You don't see like a lot of like home movies. I mean, I guess we're not there yet. We're not really there yet.
But it's in your cell phone. But then what do you do with that?
You could make them into DVDs.
But are people doing that? Are they just leaving it in their phones? You know what I'm saying?
You could put it on a hard drive.
I know, but it's like, are people actually taking the act of doing it?
Yeah, because before it was a physical picture.
Yeah.
So you had to take care of it more.
You just throw it in a box or in an album.
I feel like
now it's like,
because they're not physical anymore, I feel like now you lose them more because say you lose your phone or something happens and maybe you didn't back up your phone beforehand. Yeah, so I don't know. Sometimes old school is just better.
So was it better having the physical pictures or having digital? Which one do you...
I like the physical just because you can see like how old it got. Oh, yeah. You can see the year. Like I like holding on to it. The
discoloration?
Yeah, I love that. The smell of it too.
Oh, okay.
Also, like what I like about it is like you could frame it. Mm-hmm. So like you have pictures out like our parents, they have a lot of pictures in their house. But we don't have a lot of pictures because they're always in the phone. And we're like, oh, well, we're not going to print them or like we're too busy. So I feel like it's better to have them physical. It is good to have them digital too because I know, but you could recover them. But it does suck that they're not like a physical thing that you could put on the wall or whatever.
What else is better physical than not digital? Because I'm thinking...
Music.
In what way?
Like you remember CD players, what is it called? Walkmans?
Oh yeah.
I miss that. Like I just iPods, you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, that's even a little more advanced, but that's like, digital, yeah.
Well, iPod, yeah, that's digital. The only thing that sucked about the CDs is that they would get scratched. Oh. And once they got scratched, they didn't work anymore. Yeah. So that was another thing. Or if like the batteries died on your Walkman and you were someplace where you didn't have them, you were done.
Yeah, but I liked making my own playlist and then just decorating the CD. Like I would just make like 90s music or like, and then use my, markers and like make little drawings. I just like that.
You would listen to that CD for a whole week straight, and it's like, damn, it's getting old now.
I still have CDs like that somewhere. I have a case somewhere of all the old ones that like I wrote stuff on.
Sucks that kids won't get to experience that.
They won't even get to experience LimeWire. Remember that? Oh, all the viruses. When we were kids, that's how we would make our CDs or download to the iPod. When I remember I was lost for a while when they got rid of LimeWire. But back then, when they got rid of LimeWire, I think there was like another, like BearShare. There was another one that came out after.
BearShare, wow.
That one was like what people started using then after LimeWire. But LimeWire used to mess up your computer because you would be like thinking you were downloading a song, but you were downloading like a virus.
If you remember your top song or one of the songs you downloaded on LimeWire or BearShare, You're Beautiful by James Blunt back then. Yeah. Or Lollipop by Lil Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
That's a popular one back then.
Umbrella by Rihanna.
Oh, Umbrella.
That was one. That was definitely one that I downloaded from.
What about, comment below also if you can think of some songs that you used to download on LimeWire or BearShare. But I'm thinking the one of Akon. Lonely.
Yeah, that one.
I'm Mr. Love.
Yeah, that one was good. He had like a couple songs for a while. He was like big.
Yeah, Akon was,
yeah. Smack that all on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
That was one. That was one. He was popping for a little while. Then he fell off the face of the earth.
Still doing music.
He is?
Yeah.
Nobody listens to him anymore. The new generation definitely doesn't know who he is.
Do we got like one or two more songs we can think of? Beyonce must have had a few back then too. What was the rings? Oh, put a ring on it? No, that was
I think
that was digital. Yeah, that was digital. Oh, I know which one. Alicia Keys, no one. No one. No one
That might have been. Yeah, I think so.
can take me away from you.
Yeah, that was,
Something like that.
yeah.
That was
There
another.
was a lot of them.
No, I was gonna say, other than music, you remember going to Blockbuster? That's also like, you know, holding on to a DVD or a
Yeah.
VHS.
Buying the popcorn or the little chocolate nuggets. Yeah. If you had to pick between watching all your movies or the new craze, the new technology craze right now in 2020, being either Netflix, DVDs, or cassettes, would you stay with like the whole Netflix digital era?
I mean, I would, just because it's like convenient,
It's convenient, right?
you know?
It's so accessible.
Yeah.
Before, with the cassette, you had to rewind it. And that, I remember being a kid, and that would be so annoying because the whole movie would be playing while you're rewinding it. It's just going backwards.
Yeah.
So that was the annoying thing about cassettes, but they are nostalgic. Like when I see them, I still picture being a kid and like putting them into the VCR and rewinding and watching it.
If you got a cassette from Blockbuster, and the person before, it was kind of like an honor code. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, you're supposed to rewind it.
Yeah.
Like once you return it, like you're supposed to return it rewind already.
Yeah.
So that the person that gets it next can watch it from the beginning. But a lot of people didn't do that.
It's kind of like returning shopping carts in the parking lot. You don't have to, but it's nice if you do it.
Did you ever see someone? Did you ever not do it? You see someone looking at you like with stank eye, and you're like, and then you just do it because you're like, all right, I look like a jerk.
Yeah, I was tying my shoes.
Yeah, people get mad about that. When I used to work for this retail store, across the street from where I worked, there was like this concrete island. You remember this? You're laughing. Concrete. It's funny because it's so stupid. So one of the carts from the store next to us, or our carts, whatever, one of the store's carts was stuck on the mid island. Don't ask me why this was such a big deal, but this man kept calling like constantly to say that the cart was stuck on the middle aisle. So we're like, okay, sir, like we'll get somebody out there. All day, it was a Sunday, all day, the same phone call. The cart is in the middle aisle. And when I think about it now, I just laugh because I can picture my manager being like, but what is the big deal about this cart? Like, why, where is he that he knows that it's still there? Like, that he keeps calling. But it was just so funny. The stupid calls we used to get. Another one was this lady called and said, do you know about the squirrel problem? And he's like, what's squirrel problem? She's like, there's a lot of squirrels in your parking lot. Are you people feeding them?
What?
He was like, no, ma'am, we're not feeding them. She's like, well, I don't know. You guys need to get an exterminator or something.
That's crazy.
It was the funny. I almost peed listening to him because the look on his face as he's talking to her, he's like, what? Squirrels? It's crazy.
I remember, since you guys worked at retail, I worked at a restaurant. The craziest order I got, I remember, it was like this like couple, and they were ordering breakfast with like white toast, and he was like, can you cut the crust for me? I was like, excuse me? I was like, can you cut the crust for me?
You can't cut the crust yourself?
I was like, no, I can't do that. It's busy. I'm running around. I didn't say it like that, but I was like, it's busy. I'll try. I was like, I'm not doing it. But that to me like stuck with me. It's like,
can you cut the crust off? Imagine like that is such a simple thing. What do you need somebody else to do it for? Yeah. But yeah, in the service industry, we'll make that an episode because there's we have a lot of stories from inside the store and from phone calls.
Yeah, and now that I do DoorDash, I have a couple of stories as well. Yeah. So.
Okay, so we're gonna end now with the quote of the day, and the quote is, be happy, not because everything is good, but because you can see the good side in everything. and it doesn't say who it's by. So we're going to say it's by Anonymous. And that's going to wrap up this episode. Again, follow us on social media at the Treehouse Vibes Podcast, and we'll see you next week. Bye.